going on, everybody? My name is Rev. Welcome to the channel and welcome to Greatsword 101, the first of many Greatsword videos on this channel, and also just weapon guides in general. But I want to get right on into the guide. I promise that if you are new to this game, you will definitely learn something from this guide. I'm going to try and be as thorough as I can while just kind of doing this in a few small cuts. If you've seen any sort of preview with the Greatsword, you might know that the Greatsword is a charge weapon. Holding the Y button initiates the charge slash and allows you to level it up 3 times. This is indicated by white, orange, and red flashes. And I want to kick this guide off with a little something that I wish I knew when I first started playing the Greatsword, and that is that you can overcharge the weapon, which is a bad thing. So we have up to red, and if we perfectly release, we deal 137 damage. But if we hold the button for too long and the character squats down, you can see that it deals 110 damage. The squat is the indication that it is perfectly charged. So that's pretty much when you want to release the button. The overcharge just comes from obviously holding the button for too long, and then the character will naturally release the charge, and then you will get less damage. This is something that is pretty universal in the Monster Hunter franchise, but is kind of counterintuitive to others. Weapons in this game have perfect charges. SNS is like the first one that comes to mind with the perfect rush. And so you want to release at the moment that you see kind of like the flash happen, and you'll get the maximum amount of damage. So let's go ahead and talk about the charge slash combo just because we're already here. Now the charge slash has 3 attacks. You can do this by holding the button, going to the next one by pressing Y again and holding it down. These can all be perfectly charged. And then you'll get the highly iconic True Charge Slash for big damage. In Monster Hunter Wilds, the cool thing about True Charge Slash, it deals overall, it seems like in general, this combo is going to be your bread and butter still, but the combo has been well-rounded so that it deals more damage throughout the combo rather than it being backloaded onto True Charge Slash. The next thing I want to talk about is the wide slash combo, which is your B combo. You get a wide slash, shoulder tackle, and then the leaping wide slash. The leaping wide slash is the notable move from this combo. We have something that deals, you can tell just by seeing the damage numbers, it's not nearly as strong as, say, a normal charge slash, dealing 66 damage at level 1 and 36 damage for the wide slash. The damage isn't the notable thing here. However, it's the movement of the lunging, leaping wide slash, sorry. The leaping wide slash deals okay damage. The Hope weapon that the beta is giving us is not an elemental weapon, and these are the 2 things that matter. The movement of the leaping wide slash moves you very far. And so you can use it as a cheeky little way to hit monsters and get out of dodge in the same attack. However, the recovery is rather large, but it does cover a wide distance. The second thing about the lunging wide slash is that I can't tell you if this is true for Wilds, but in previous iterations of the game, they typically dealt quite high elemental damage. So if elements become sort of like the meta or like a way that you want to play in the game, the leaping wide slash might be a way for you to deal additional damage to certain monsters during certain fights. Next up, I want to go ahead and talk about the shoulder tackle. The shoulder tackle naturally occurs as the second hit in the wide slash combo. However, it is not the only way to get a shoulder tackle. The shoulder tackle is one of the defensive options that the Greatsword has next to guarding and the new offset slash. I would argue even the offset slash is more of an offensive tool, but I would like to cover the shoulder tackle first. So the shoulder tackle can be done out of any charge. It also offers some damage reduction. I'll go ahead and get hit by this naturally. You can see that it did. It's kind of hard to gauge how much that is. However, it's pretty easy to see that you do take less damage. By taking less damage, that also means you're taking less stun damage, which means that you are able to kind of just take the brunt of a lot of heavy hits, unless you have something like Shock Blight. You can still get stunned when you do get hit in a shoulder tackle, so that's something to keep in mind. some stun resistance on the Greatsword is actually pretty good. Speaking of stun resistance, the shoulder tackle also deals blunt damage, which means that eventually you'll be able to force a KO on a monster if you keep hitting them in the head with a blunt weapon, or in this case your shoulder tackle, and causing them to fall over and create a damage window for you. Something that's a little bit confusing about the shoulder tackle is while you're in any charge, you press B. However, if you dodge and press Y, you'll go ahead and do a shoulder tackle as well. These shoulder tackles are the exact same, but it does mean that you're able to do a roll, shoulder tackle, leaping wide slash combo, which is typically how it's used. Normally, you don't really utilize this combo in order to get to the leaping wide slash. It's more common for you to do the shoulder tackle into the leaping wide slash, so you get that higher elemental damage I was mentioning earlier. Another common situation is that you'll go into, let's say, true charge slash here, and then afterwards, you'll roll out because the monster's attacking you or something, and then you'll shoulder tackle through it and then go all the way back into a TCS again. However, probably the most crucial thing of the shoulder tackle is that it advances the charge combo forward regardless of if you let the button go. You can see I'm charging a true charge slash and I haven't even swung the sword at all. And this is a very quick way to get to true charge slash, and in previous iterations of Monster Hunter, this was a great way to deal high amounts of damage very fast. It's untold if this is how the Greatsword is going to be playing in the future, but based on the testing that I've done through the beta, I would say that it's always going to be better to pretty much fully charge all of your attacks if you have time to do so. Charging up for a true charge slash is going to be the highest single damage hit that you can do outside of the offset slash. The second slash of the offset slash is the highest damage hit that the Greatsword can deal, at least in the beta. This is subject to change, obviously, but just something to keep in mind as well. And since I've already brought it up, let's go ahead and talk about the rising offset slash. The rising offset slash is done by pressing Y and B at the same time. You can charge this up to 3 times, and at level 3, it deals 153 damage. At level 1, it deals 95 damage. In order to get the counter, or like the counter hit animation, you need to at least charge it to level 1. You can see the blue arrows on the tutorial here. If I just press Y and B, I'll still do the rising slash. It deals reduced damage, but it doesn't have the offsetting properties. And now if I go ahead and offset an attack at level 1, you can see I dealt 95 damage, 44, 182. However, if I charge to level 3, dealt 153, 58, and 233 damage. So charging to level 3 increases the damage of all 3 hits across the board. It's also worth noting that your character does run forward during this animation, and you have a lot of time to release the button in order to get the follow-up cross slash, so you can aim where you want to go. I'll go ahead and do this one more time with the focus mode this time. So counter hit, run forward a little bit, and then if I wanted to go for like a wing or something onto the side and get that break or cause a little bit more damage to somewhere that I've already been working on, this is a great tool to use. So across the board, I think that this is the most important thing about the Greatsword for returning users. It does a ton of damage, and furthermore, something worth noting, my character is glowing because I triggered Doshaguma's armor set here, which is done by successfully offsetting. So there's going to be things in wilds where successfully offsetting is going to increase your damage even more, and so that skill expression is going to reward you with more damage, faster hunts, etc. So let's go ahead and move on to the last but not least defensive option that the Greatsword has access to, and has also gotten quite a significant change with the changes that came with wilds. By pressing R2 on the, or right trigger, sorry, I'm old, so you know, R2 right trigger, by perfectly timing with the attack, you can guard with the weapon, and guarding will negate all damage, take a little bit of stamina, and it will also cause you to not take any sharpness damage to your weapon. This is kind of like the big detriment of blocking with the Greatsword, is that it reduces your sharpness, which will make it so you need to sharpen, which is kind of whack. But we have also like stamina. It's taking stamina. It's dealing a little bit of health damage as well. So guarding is a way to negate a hit if you just absolutely cannot get out of the way. Ideally, you just kind of, you know, roll through it or dodge it in a way that allows you to get more damage or position you a little bit better. But sometimes that's just not really an option, especially for new players. Learning how to time, similar to like a Dark Souls game, timing your guard will also reward you with a sort of clash, a guard clash, which after you successfully get the monster off of you, will allow you to go into a true charge slash. There are a lot of complexities that come with guarding, and they all kind of get negated by perfectly guarding an attack. But just know that in Monster Hunter, there are guard levels and there are also monster attack levels. So like say I'm blocking this normally, it will not take too much damage because it's just a little cart punching me in the face. However, if I'm blocking a giant beam from a giant dragon, I'm probably going to take more sharpness damage, more stamina damage, more health damage across the board, and I'm probably going to die anyway. This is sort of just glancing over the surface of what guarding can be. Like I said, it's kind of complex, and I don't want to just kind of like muddle all the information here talking about guarding when I should be talking about the Greatsword. I've went ahead and made some wounds here, so let's go ahead and talk about the focus mode for the Greatsword. The big thing to know is that after using your focus modes like Special Slash, Perforate, which is done by right bumper, you'll drag the sword and blow up any wounds afterwards. However, you shouldn't let up there, because after you use Perforate, if you press the Y button, you'll go directly into True Charge Slash. That didn't do the most damage because I bounced off the side, but you get the idea. You can get a free True Charge Slash without wasting any time after using Perforate. Another cool thing about the Greatsword, and it's something that will be very useful, waking up monsters after they are sleeping. Sleeping monster takes double damage from the first hit. However, you would be able to kind of spin your reticle towards the monster for a True Charge Slash like I just did. I'll go ahead and do that again. So you just use all of your combo, swing the first swing away, and use the focus mode to swing your TCS around. So for the tail end of this guide, I want to go ahead and talk about some of the fun tech that you can do in order to have a little fun, deal a little bit of damage, and maybe force some situations that might be advantageous for the hunter. And so the Greatsword can do something called ledge hopping, which can be done in a situation like this. You have a ledge, a monster in front of you. Let's pretend it's in front of me. You can go ahead and roll off the ledge. Use the charge attack to propel yourself forward, because that move just naturally does that. And then do this infinitely. There are some decorations in previous games that offer increased damage off the aerial attacks, which makes this a really stupid way to deal a lot of damage very quickly. It's also a great way for a forced mount, in order to get the monster to topple over if you're not building the GS in that particular way. Like I said before, there might not be aerial GS decorations in Wilds, so that's something to keep in mind. But this tech is still useful. It deals significantly less damage when you don't have the decoration, so I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. But if the mount has not happened very frequently, you might be able to get another one forced. The last thing we'll talk about here is something a little bit more universal, which is animation canceling. Now, if you go ahead and go into a True Charge Slash, I'm just going to go ahead and let this animation play out. If you just leave it here, look how long it takes for me to be able to move once again. However, you can cancel this animation by simply just rolling or utilizing a different move, which is, didn't exist before, which is the offset rising slash. And you can see how much faster everything is. This is a great way to keep your offense running, as well as if you're playing with multiple people, you can like hit a hit away that's meant for somebody else. And just, yeah, I think the most important thing is that it's the offense just kind of keeps going. You can kind of see that the character's feet kind of rise off of the ground here for the TCS. just for a little side-by-side comparison. Versus needing to, you know, wait for the whole character groans and then you can start moving again. So acting as soon as possible in this game is sort of important, and that's something that I want to draw attention to. You can roll, but you can also do the offset slash from a true charge slash, which was not previously able to be done before. But that's going to do it for this guide. Hopefully you enjoyed and hopefully you learned something. If you did, a like would be greatly appreciated. Let me know if you have any further question or tech to share in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next weapon guide. Peace out and have a good one.